The concept I hold near and dear to my heart is open and honest communication, transparency, and freedom of every individual. And, well, fuck it, we aren't seeing that anymore now, are we? The people who we've said for a very long time don't deserve the power are, you know what, trying their damnedest to get the power, regardless of your opinion or not. And, well, today we're going to focus in, right now we're going to focus in on what's happening with censorship and memory holding of certain individuals and what we can expect going forward. Because if you thought that this was all just going to disappear now that they've won, no, it's just going to get infinitely worse, and you're just going to have to live with the consequences. Regardless or not, if you live in the States or if you live abroad like I do up here in Canada, it's just going to continue to get worse, because if they see that it works in one aspect, you don't think that they aren't going to extrapolate that out further? Fuck, of course not. So, Twitter marks 12 Trump tweets as misleading in a 60-hour span. President says social media platform out of control as some of his election day leads in battleground states dwindle or vanish. I would say so. That's a fairly honest interpretation of what's going on, but who knows, maybe this video will just get yeeted for just saying that, because things are getting worse and they aren't going to be turning around anytime soon if in fact we end up with a Biden presidency. Twitter has marked at least a dozen of tweets from President Trump since Election Day with a disclaimer warning that they may contain misleading information about the vote. I forgot which video it was yesterday where we went down Trump's Twitter feed and found out that, most of those, if not all of those tweets that were behind their little fucking disinformation wall, just were, fucking regular thoughts that, anybody with a set of eyes could verify. But that's not the future we can look forward to. I, too, look forward to our new overlords telling us exactly what to think and how to think it and when to think it. Some or all of the content shared in this tweet is disputed, the Twitter notice says. Yep, get used to more of that. Trump and many of his supporters have gone on Twitter tirades this week as votes continue to be counted in battleground states from election night. Continue to be counted from election night in battleground states of Georgia, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, Wisconsin. Shall I continue? Probably not. It's getting boring at this point. He and his team have promoted claims that those states are engaging in voter fraud, but we here at Fox News are arbiters of truth and impartiality, and we will tell you that there is no evidence of widespread voter fraud, because we can just throw that little term of widespread on there and therefore continue to shift the goalposts and never be able to nail down what constitutes a need for voter fraud investigations, just like how stupid Chris Wallace. So far there is not enough evidence of fraud large enough to overturn election results. Just live with the fact that there is actual voter fraud going on a consistent basis, and it's just not a large enough margin. Well, Chris, how much is a large enough margin? You're on a need-to-know basis, and you don't need to know. Trump faced some pushback from his own party Thursday. Who are these people? The people who aren't speaking out about anything? The likes of, Martha McSally, who's probably going to end up costing the state of Arizona 2 Senate seats? Or Mitt Romney, the person who didn't even vote for President Trump on Election Day? After warning about illegal voting and an attempt to steal the presidential election. Yup. Or, fight for it when dead people are voting, when people who have moved out of the state continue to vote in that state as well as in their new state as well. States to state. There is, so far, not evidence of massive voter fraud in the 2020 election, as President Trump has claimed. Fox News' Chris Wallace, disgraced vote debate moderator Chris Wallace, said Friday. You heard, John Roberts just said that there is a debate in the White House. Some people are saying give up gracefully, talk about unity of the nation, and concede the election. That doesn't seem to be certainly based on what the president said around 6:30 Eastern last night. What a fucking bag of shit. Listen, pal. Everybody knows you shit the bed a couple of weeks ago when you moderated that fucking debate. Your history of being a never-Trumper is long and very well documented, and I've done my fair share of that as well. And just because you've got the looks of your old man doesn't mean that you have the poise or anywhere near the same level of respect. So enough with your proselytizing. He expects these fucking do-nothing Republicans to convince Trump to, give up his fight, and he should just, go away peaceful into the night, because that's the Republican way. Don't fight for anything, just give in to the fact that there is voter fraud, but you can't prove it on a wide spectrum. What is a wide spectrum? I continue to ask. But yeah, if he concedes to this, even though, keep seeing votes getting thrown out, thrown into the ditch, hidden, fucking buried, burnt and thrown out, will it ever be enough? Nah. What's the consequence of this? They get the power, they understand that, all of their tactics were successful. Do you think that they're going to give it up? No, of course not. They are just going to continue to look for a wider swath of people to prosecute, and eventually, any old Trump supporter, if they can prove that you voted for Trump, even if you weren't exactly enthusiastic as some of his base was to vote for him, you will be ostracized from society. Think I'm being hyperbolic? Well, how about this one? After Floyd killing, we need a Truth and Reconciliation Commission on race and policing. How about that? How about we start thought policing? That sounds like a great idea now, doesn't it? Yeah, indeed. You need to be purged of your wrong think. You need to have new ideas and new values instilled in your head that are brought to you in part, brought you in full by the government. Because, the party of there's corruption everywhere. Immediately looks to government to solve all your problems. The instinct for many Americans with deeply felt grievances is to rage. Decades of protests, many peaceful, some violent, have yielded insufficient progress in the quest for better relations between the police and those who are policed. Criminal trials, civil lawsuits, and out-of-court settlements haven't helped enough, because it's never enough. Starting to get that point. For paradigmatic change, this person just likes to use big, complex words to seem smarter. A Truth and Reconciliation Commission may be the only answer. South Africans made the concept famous, but there have been dozens of commissions in the United States. The city of Greensboro, North Carolina, and the state of Maine have undertaken commissions. Canada launched one that's national in scope. Which isn't great, because then you can be tried for things like hate speech or making people mad. You think that I'm being hyperbolic? Ask comedian Mike Ward, who has had to spend nearly $1 million in his defense of making a joke at someone's expense. He is a comedian after all, and this took place in a comedy club. So you think you want these little fucking kangaroo courts set up across the world? Because if they think that something works in the United States, and that's why I don't think that mail-in balloting is going to be going away anytime soon if President Trump doesn't exactly pull through, and the court doesn't side with him on the fact that there was in fact a voter fraud, they're just going to continue on with this because fuck, it worked for them. They worked ever so hard to implement this mail-in voting program, so do you think that they're just immediately going to give it up? No, of course not. This is here to stay if the courts don't intervene and side on the fact that there is voter fraud out there. I can go ahead and list it off to you again, but all the burning, broken, destroyed, discarded votes, as well as the ones that just immediately come in and only say Biden on them, especially in places like Michigan and Wisconsin, but that's neither here nor there. Now, to be completely fair, Larry Schuler, opinion contributor, while he may be somebody with a restraining order that he can't be within 50 feet of an elementary school, he may not have that much institutional power, as it were. He just might be some asshole who writes for USA Today, that small paper, that small outlet, the USA Today. He might be somebody of no consequence. How about somebody who's actually elected, somebody who's an official? How about our good friend AOC, United States House candidate for the good district of New York, its 14th congressional district? Is anyone archiving these Trump sycophants for when they try to downplay or deny their complicity in the future? I foresee decent probability that many deleted tweets, writings, photos in the future. LOL, let the party of responsibility being upset about the idea of being responsible for their behavior over the past 4 years. Isn't that just a touch disturbing? Doesn't that sound like somebody who's calling for, a Truth and Reconciliation Commission? Somebody who eventually wants to go in there and find anybody who used to support the legally elected president, not somebody who probably for all intents and purposes still the presidency, but it's not like that hasn't happened before in 1864 and 1960 and another time before that. It doesn't quite have the same catchy name or catchy year to go along with it, but yeah, it's happened before. So Yeah, this is a future you get to look forward to. You got the Inquisitors like AOC and 4 more of her friends because we added another member to the squad, so yay. They can go on and field the worst basketball team ever, but at least they're all diverse, right? That's the most important thing, because here in the new future, I believe in 100% equity. I don't believe that equality of outcome is a terrible idea. It's definitely something that we should look forward to in the future because we won't have a say in it anyways. Not trying to be terribly black-pilled right now. I'm just trying to make a light of this very dark situation because we're going to be in for a very long fight, and I hope you join me on that because I, for one, am not giving up. She can go ahead and screenshot all my opinions because, well, can't really legislate out here in Canada, but very tight-knit community these progressives have, and our whatever king or whatever he wants to be called, Chairman Trudeau, will eventually concede to this, and I can see him calling for a snap election, and because COVID will be a never-ending pandemic until he has a majority victory, he will definitely call for a snap election and, use mail-in balloting to his own personal advantage. But maybe I'm just being a little hyperbolic. Maybe I thought that, mail-in balloting would go exactly this way, and we'd be stuck with this sort of legal, ugly battle going forward. Anyways, guys, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you guys to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.